Like to call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock on Monday at our Township Council chambers here. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather is traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Ottawa, and Mississauga peoples. Confirmation of the agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves the agenda for January 13th, 2025 council meeting as presented. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Consent agenda. Number 4, that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts consent item 411. And further, that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 4.1.2 to 4.3.3 for information purposes. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, Councillor Wright. Is there anything you'd like to pull from this at all? Anybody? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Thank you, Reeve. I don't really want to pull anything, but if we look through the reports, we can see that staff is applying for plenty of grants, and some are granted and some are not. And I think as a municipality, we really have to be happy to receive these grants, and gives us a little bit of relief for our taxes.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Yes, just a comment in the same direction. 4.2.4, of the submitted grants, that would mean that township share, if we got them all, township share would be over 3 mil. That's scary. Just so you all know, it's good to submit the grants. Don't get me wrong, but.
Yep. Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Just on 4.2.2 of the bylaw enforcement report there, just a note on it that it would be nice to know on the quarterly remote or reports that which ones have been dealt with and which ones have are ongoing. It's good to know the number of incidents there's been, but we don't get a report of the resolution of any of them.
Thank you. That's been duly noted. Thank you. Okay, so we aren't really. Okay, so Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, just a comment on 4.2.8, the report for Rec and Children's Services. It's been some time since we had an update on current membership down at the complex. I know there's some issues with the enrollment system, but I just wonder when we're going to be able to get some updated membership numbers there.
Okay.
And my other question too, I guess the Director of Finance isn't here, or Treasurer, but in a similar vein, last year, I remember we got quarterly financial updates on how we're doing against budget, projected against actuals. That dropped off the radar this year. I'd certainly like to see that come back. I think it was useful, and I think I don't want to speak for all of council, but I think all of council enjoyed that update.
Yeah, that's duly noted. Thank you very much, Councillor Wright. So mover, have it. Okay, all in favor? Carried. At this time, public meeting, hearings, and delegations, I'd like to welcome Mr. Paul McKee. Come up to the podium. Appreciate Paul. He's been a resident around here for quite a long time, and so we look forward to what you sent us a letter, and we all were able to look at it. Just turn over to you now.
Can't break anything, can I? Of Belgrave and Morris Township, so it's good to see a real council in action here. And I guess the first thing I want to say is, as far as I'm here about snow, as far as I'm concerned, what's done in Wingham here is first class. The way you look after the roads and handle the snow in the wintertime. Which brings me to this request, if you read it, of getting another 1 block of sidewalk added to the plowing. The reason is, on one side of me, there's a lady who's legally blind. I know somebody may have seen her. She walks her kids to school you'd see 2 small kids and the lady with the cane. She lives there, and on the other side is little guy's name, but he's Leachman, Odin Leachman. He's he had a trouble with his spine, and he had a cancer on it, and he's been in London and now is in Florida actually getting special treatment that they can only get there because it's so close to his spine. So and Minnie Street, where we're on, is also a emergency road, which if you're on it when the Christmas parade, Santa Claus parade is on, you know what the traffic can be on that road, but it is fairly busy. So I guess that's all I got to say, is that I hope you would consider maybe adding the west side of Minnie Street to be, I think you'd have to wait till spring now. There are big piles over the sidewalk, but unless the snow went away, it could be done this year yet.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. McKee. And at this time, I'm just going to let our CAO to talk about this, please.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so Director McAllister and I had discussed this agenda item in advance of the meeting. We think operationally we can definitely absorb that additional block. So if that was what the council, if that was the direction council wanted to provide, we can include that in the township's winter maintenance program. And then as Director McAllister advised previously, there is plans to conduct a review and update of the township's winter maintenance of sidewalks policy. So we'd incorporate a larger scale update as well and reflect this block in that update of the policy.
Okay, could I have a mover? Councillor Palmer, seconder, Deputy Reeve, questions? Okay, go ahead, Deputy Reeve, please.
Yeah, just for clarity, do we have the cross streets of which block we're talking about on Minnie Street? Whereabouts?
Yeah, it was mentioned between Patrick and John. So,
Okay, thank you.
we have mover and
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Palmer, did you have a question there or just moving it? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 6.1.1 CL 2025-03 Multi-Year Accessibility Plan 2025 Update and 2024 Annual Status Report. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, seconder, Councillor Van Hitterson. Are there any questions for Clerk Lamb here? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. 6.2.1 Finance -2025-02 Boring Bylaw. May I have a mover? Deputy or Councillor Van Whitfield, Councillor Wright. Questions for our CAO at all? None, sort of straightforward. All in favor? Carried. 6.2.2 Finance 2025-03 Interim Tax Levy Bylaw. Are there again any questions? Yeah, I'll ask for a mover. Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. .3.1 CC 2025-01 Child Care Service Provider Agreement with Huron County. May I have a mover? Councillor Wright, seconder. Councillor Palmer. Are there any questions for Director Stice at this time? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, I noticed in the agreement that allowable expenses were allowed to submit for or you can cover utilities, maintenance and repairs and lease costs actually as well. So I just wonder, is that covered under the current agreement? And if so, are we actually submitting for those? Because I thought we paid for a replacement air conditioner on our existing building out of our funds recently. I could be mistaken about that, but I'm just curious how it compares to our existing agreement.
Okay, I'll turn that over to Director Seiss, please.
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Councillor. This is a new agreement, and so the idea is that there is more of an intention to be paying the expenses, which publicly you may recall that was one of the criticisms of the Canada-wide benefit for childcare. And so we will be looking at how do we recoup some of those fees for building expenses that I don't believe we were able to recoup before. We had to apply for special grants. I don't recall a air conditioner, but we did purchase a generator. Thank you. Yes. And but that was through a special grant, and that has already been installed.
Thank you. Find that.
Thank you, Reeve. Yes.
Thank you. All in favor, please? Carried. 6.4.1, Public Works 2025-3, Blythe Sewage Treatment Plant Temporary Sand Filters. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeves, seconder. Councillor McBurney. Okay, at this time, are there any questions for Director McAllister? Go ahead, Deputy Reed, please.
Thank you. Just the rental costs on the sand filter that are coming in about 400,000. I was just curious do we have any idea how much the replacement of that unit would have been?
Through you, Reeve, to Deputy Reeve Faulkner. Off the top of my head, no. You're probably looking into the millions, at least two, I think, to replace the unit. Or you're talking about the original unit?
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably looking at 2 to 3 million, I would think, just off the top of my head, but
So
I don't have any.
we currently don't have anything on the books as to replace the unit that we're putting the temporary sand filters in for. How many years do we figure we'll be renting that piece of equipment?
So through you, Reeve, so we currently have retained an engineer who's doing the design for that work, and they are designing the filters to meet the capacity. I believe they plan on tendering that work in 26 is what the talk is right now. But I would need to get more information from them if that is desired from council.
A follow-up of a the filter that we're temporary filter that we're getting is being supplied by Veolia, according to this. They're the same agency that we use for monitoring
That's correct.
the system. It seems to be kind of a bit of a conflict to me. Is the same people that are doing your monitoring to the health of your system are now renting us a piece of equipment due to the lack of maintenance to a piece of equipment that they were monitoring. And I didn't see any other quotes from other manufacturers or renters of filter systems to substantiate the amount. So maybe just shed some light on that for me if you could.
Through you, Reeve, to Deputy Reeve, the filters that they would be supplying are a pretty niche type filter. I don't know if there is any other suppliers that would be able to provide that, but we certainly could look into that if that's council's wishes. Veolia had offered this as they were part of the meetings with the ministry. And Veolia had offered to hold their prices from 2024 for us to use those filters if that was council's direction today.
Go ahead.
Through you, Reeve, then did this acquisition, was it covered through our acquisition process.
But our CEO will talk to that.
Through your worship, can you just define what you mean by our acquisition process?
Well, in our, most of our processes are multiple quotes. What I'm getting at, I was just wondering why, I don't remember seeing any quotes on the information, on the equipment.
Right, for our procurement policy. Yeah, so there's a clause in your procurement policy that when something is very niche or technical in nature, that you can bypass the 3 quotes. But again, we can certainly issue a request for proposal for the service if that's what council is desirous of. But I believe what Director McAllister alluded to is there's no guarantee that Veolia would hold that same pricing for us if we went to RFP.
Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, thanks, through you, Reeve. So, I had actually similar questions and, not that it was, comprehensive, but I did some searching online. I could not find anybody else in Ontario that provided these because I had the same question about our procurement process. This, I think I remember formally, is this, the need to have these temporary sand filters, is that somehow related to warm weather? Because I know that the order is that we don't have to start for a while, right?
Through you, Reeve, to Councillor Wright, the ministry has given us time to try and comply. We're currently not in compliance with our ECA. We're not meeting our thresholds. And so they've given us time to make the arrangements to try and work with us, as opposed to saying you have 30 days to have this installed. And, we have to come back into compliance. We've been in non-compliance for a bit of time. So they're willing to work with us at this point to try and bring ourselves back into compliance.
But as a follow-up, I'm curious what's going to happen next fall when we get back below freezing again, because the sand filter doesn't work in cold weather, right?
Through you, Reeve, chances are you'll have to keep the sand filters in place and create some sort of temporary shelter for them that would keep them in an adequate temperature that they can still operate.
Okay, so I don't know who we engaged from an engineering perspective, whether it was BM Ross or Burnside or whoever. We should be paying overtime for them to get this design done as fast as possible, because we're looking at 40, 50, 60,000 plus a month, right? Like, we should really be focusing on expediting this design and expediting this process, because we're going to be bleeding a lot of money here until we get these sand filters replaced, right? So it's going to pay us back if we pay for overtime and whatever we can in order to get this design expedited. So I'd highly recommend that.
So with council's direction, we could definitely do that. Yeah. But we would need that direction from council.
CEO has noted that for you, so you're fine with that, Councillor Wright?
And if I may, your worship, I would recommend too, similar to Director McAllister's comments, if council wants to put that direction in that motion to update that motion, that's certainly something we can then approach the engineers who are working on the design work with.
Sure.
Just give our CEO a moment here and then he can finish crafting the motion. And we'll have him read it to us.
So again, Council Wright, if this isn't exactly what you're looking for in the amendment, just let me know. But something along the lines of that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the report from the Director of Public Works and Facilities dated January 13th, 2025 regarding the Blythe Sewage Treatment Plant temporary sand filters. And further, that council hereby grants pre-budget approval for the rental of the temporary mobile disc filters at the Blythe Sewage Plant from Veolia Mobile Services in the amount of $400,000. And further, that council hereby directs staff to pay the additional costs required of engineering to expedite the design work for the permanent sand filter solution. So your mover is Deputy Falconer and your seconder is Councillor McBurney.
Fine with that.
So then logistically, if that additional costs, if we were to get that design work done earlier, we would just draw less on the money out of reserves, out of that 400,000, and put that towards the design, extra cost for the design work.
Councillor Palmer, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. That's good to do. It's good practice to do. However, we have no idea what the end cost would be for doing a complete job. And, you know, we're looking at a budget, looking forward to a budget, and, you know, we can see the 400,000 to get us almost to the end of the year. But, you know, then what do we do? Say they expedited it and they were able to snap and get it done, and then we have a potential site that worth 1 or 2 million. Like, we're not ready with that. So just be aware that that's on the plate. You know, how do we handle that in our budget?
Yeah, through your worship, I guess what I would say is, once the design work's done, before any of awarding of the work is done, it'll have to come back to council, right? So with that, you'll get the proposed plan to award the work as well as the funding model for that of how it could potentially be funded. And certainly, staff are cognizant of the financial situation of the municipality always, so.
We know. That's good. Follow up. Just a thought, can you get on to potential grants out there so we know ahead of time if there's something available?
Yeah, through your worship, absolutely. So any grants that pop up where we think we might be eligible, we can definitely submit an application for.
Okay, so I'd like to bring this to a vote. All in favor? Carried. 6.4.2, Public Works 2025-4, Assumption of Services for Phase 1 of the Rutledge Subdivision, Blythe. Subdivision 22M-13, file number 40 T17002. Are there any questions for Director McAllister? Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. They've been working at plowing it for the last winters, so I ask for a mover. Councillor Wright, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. 6.6.1 CS 2025-01 North Huron Museum Deaccession Project, report number 19. Are there any questions for Denise at this time? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve. We'll ask Denise to come forward.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. Just curious, the report consists of quite a few missing from facility items. I'm just curious as to the process of what, how much staff time and such is going into finding stuff that's missing. I just don't.
So the whole process has been, the reason that 379 items have been brought now is because in the software is part of elimination. So you would either find the item or not find the item. You can imagine what the two people have been through to go through that whole entire building. And they finally feel comfortable saying and committing to these are the items that are missing and they can't find them. And we don't want to predict, we don't want to guess where any of these items have gone to. It's just they cannot find them currently in this building.
Any other questions at all? Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Henderson, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. 7 8.1 is correspondence requiring action or direction. The Wingaman Area Historical Society requests for letter of support regarding the 100th anniversary of CKNX grant application. I'll ask our CAO to elaborate at all for us.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so Mr. Boyer, he's here in attendance tonight. He came into town hall earlier last week with kind of the letter that you see before you. So what the Wingham Area Historical Society has is an opportunity to potentially obtain funding through a grant application for an individual who would work to do some initiatives in celebration of the 100th anniversary of CKNX. So at this time, the Wingham Area Historical Society is seeking council a letter of support, which they can then use as part of that grant application to the federal government.
Good. Are there any questions for our CAO at this time? Seeing none, could you want to craft a?
Yep, so a motion could be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the request from the Wingham Area Historical Society regarding a letter of support for the 100th anniversary of CKNX grant application, and further that council hereby supports the submission of a grant application by the Wingham Area Historical Society to celebrate the 100th anniversary of CKNX.
May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, seconder. Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. Thank you for coming, Mr. Boyer. At this time, we have the Reeves activity report. It's sort of a quiet time of year, and we're in the midst of doing a CAO recruitment at this time. And it is going well. Our interim CAO is back and forth with Waterhouse there and that. And I also was able to be at the dinner for the less fortunate, and it was really well received. A lot of volunteers were there. I just want to thank the Lyles for doing all this work, and there were a lot of happy faces either coming in when they could smell the food, and on the way out their night they had all kinds of prizes for the kids. And again, it's all from volunteers out in our local municipality, and we thank all of them for that. The Blythe Parade, it was great to have that. It was very large, and I just want to thank the Blythe Community Betterment Group for putting that on. A lot of lining up the floats and just putting them out, just bang, bang, bang. It was really good. And again, I appreciate Chad and taking us around with the Blythe Fire Department. Just very much appreciated. And I know the kids got lots of cheers when the whistles would go off in the truck. So again, thank you to the fire departments. Are there any verbal or written updates from members at all? Oh, quiet too. Okay. Any comments by members? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Eve. I'd just like to compliment the Blythe Broomball League for their tournament this weekend, and it's been quite a while since I've seen the parking lot and the streets got quite that full of cars. I couldn't believe it that how far away I had to park. I might as well stay at home and walk, because there was a huge turnout, and they did a great job, as they do every year.
I'm sure the Zamboni drivers would have lots of work to do, and just looking after the facilities. Again, it's very much appreciated what the facilities workers do there. And because I had a comment, a positive comment from somebody, saw something happen down at the Wingham Arena, and somebody, just touch the flu that time of year, and the guy came and cleaned it all up. It was just nonchalantly just went ahead, and again, things like that are noticed by other people. So I just want to thank the workers for doing that. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. Yeah, I just want to thank staff and volunteers and everybody that came out to the Blythe fireworks. It was very well attended. People really liked it, and hopefully we can do it next year.
Thank you. I'll go to Councillor McBurney, then Councillor Palmer. Okay.
Thank you, Reeve. This is for the Oversight Committee. They held a 2025 campaign kickoff this past Friday at the Libro Center in Clinton. They have an article in the Huron County News, if you want to read up on that. This month, or starting this month till March, it's mental health and addiction. And that's what this committee will be concentrating on.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor McBurney. At this time, I'll go to Councillor Palmer, please.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. To Director Stice. This is for our own sake and also some correspondence that a few of us have probably received. And it's got to do with staffing at the rec center, primarily the pool and the fitness and the pool. It's got to do with certified instructors, because they're individuals people are used to having a bunch of them in there and rely on them. And we've been going through a bit of a tricky time. So they're hoping things can get back. So if you could help us in that area.
Through Reeve Heffer to Councillor Palmer. So we're starting to see some changes in the at the Westcast complex, and particularly in the pool, with the onboarding of Shannon Henry as our aquatic coordinator. She's taken an opportunity to look at how we might be able to do things differently, specifically with the delivery of Aquafit courses. And there are no regulations around how Aquafit needs to be delivered. So she took the opportunity to say, you know what, we can develop our own standards and criteria. So she's been working with her staff team to that point. And we heard that in the surveys as well, that the community wanted different music in Aquafit, different classes, different instructors. We get that. You need variety in your workouts to be able to continue. So she's working with our lifeguards to get them to be able to, all of them to be able to teach an Aquafit class or two. And so we're starting to see that. Some of it's building confidence, right? Standing on the deck, bringing people through that. So everybody's at a different place, but we're starting to see our team there being able to deliver a variety of courses. And I think we're starting to see attendance grow. So we're, it's about sharing the message that we're here, that we want to do things differently, that we're listening to the surveys, the feedback that the community provided to be able to be more responsive to their needs of the community. And the fitness, yeah. So as per council's direction, we changed the level of service. So we no longer offer floor hours, but we will be moving forward. So we currently have a membership that people can purchase, and you can access the fitness center when during operating hours and kind of do what you need to do there. We will be working on delivering some instructor-led classes, so whatever that might be. We're just in the process of putting that together, and we certainly have some staff we have staff that are going to be able to deliver those classes once we're able to get them advertised and then full. As you know, we will be delivering classes that are where we have full cost recovery. And then we have our Rec Admin team who is making sure that not only Westcast stays open, but Blythe stays open for the public skates. And we're going through a bit of a transition there, but I think that's always to be expected with a part-time staff complement where, people who take on a part-time staff role do it for different reasons. And so that's why you see a lot of kind of fluctuation there. But we're seeing more people coming through and really excited about the opportunities ahead this year as we will be looking at kind of some future opportunities.
Thank you. Any other comments from any members? Seeing none. Thank you, each of you, for those. At this time, are there any notice motions? Seeing none. Go to the bylaws. 9.1, bylaw number 1, 2025, appointment of deputy clerk / planning coordinator. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Palmer. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw numbered 02, 2025, appointment of deputy treasurer. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeves, seconder, Councillor McBurney. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 03-2025, assumption of services for Phase 1 of the Rutledge subdivision, Blythe. May I have a mover? Councillor Wright, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Next meeting, regular council meeting will be held Monday, February 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the North Huron Council Chambers. The next Wingham BIA Board meeting will be held on Thursday, January 16th, 2025 at 6:30 in the Hot Stove Lounge in North Huron West Cass Community Complex. And the next Blythe BIA Board meeting will be held on Thursday, January 30th, 2025 at 8 a.m. in the first floor meeting room at the Blythe and District Community Center. Are there any other announcements? Seeing none? 12, closed session and report note that the Council of the Township of North.
So just one change, or I guess two changes to the motion that's before you to go into close. So with Director Towns being absent tonight, so we're going to remove him from being in attendance for items 1 and 2 in closed. However, Director McAllister is going to remain for items 1, 2, and 3 now.
Okay, thank you. So we're going into at what time? 6:37 to an in-camera session closed to the public under section 239-2-C and F of the Municipal Act to discuss the following: a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, proposed acquisition of land update, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, proposed acquisition of land update. And number 3 is the advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for the purpose solicitor advice. And further, that the interim CAO Director of Legislative Service / Clerk, item 1, 2, and 3, Economic Development Officer, item 1 and 2, and Director of Public Works, 1, 2, and 3. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll take